365 Sports and Pete Nakos on 3. We've had Pete on for many different times. It's been a little bit of a while, but he joins us now with 365 Sports and Paul Catalina, David and Craig Smoke. Pete, how you doing? Thanks for jumping on with us. How has your week been, young man?
Been an interesting 5 days here, but thanks so much for having me on.
Well, we're glad to have it on and glad that you, of course, nailed the story on Nico Iamaleava. So I got a question for you about that. We'll get into it.
Sure.
Who that might have been interested is now backed off because of any concerns about it being too toxic?
So Tulane's pulled out. I think that was more of a money thing. And then North Carolina made sense, but they're going to go in a different direction and take the South Alabama quarterback, Gio Lopez. At least that's where it's trending at the moment. Past that, continue to hear a lot about UCLA and hearing about a lot of schools across the country that are getting contacted by Nico's camp. But I don't think those schools are going to be factors.
Pete, I saw you say that if his number comes closer down into the $1 million range, so he is, unless proven otherwise, cost himself money by doing this, right?
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of quarterbacks right now across the country who are going to make more than $3 million this upcoming year, and Nico had a deal that was paying him between like 2.2 to 2.5 million, and they were looking for 4 million, as ESPN previously reported. And ideally, obviously, I think Nico's camp will love it if he still made the kind of money he was going to make at Tennessee. Now, does that all happen? I think that's to be determined. And you kind of look across the country, not everyone can pay that kind of money for a quarterback. So, yeah, I think a lot of schools could enter the picture the more and more his price drops.
Pete, I know this is like the most high-profile example of a situation like this we've had, but I think it was like Josh Pate mentioned the other night about this was happening during the playoff season. There was guys threatening to hold out or whatever. How
Sure.
common is this? The quarterback coming back using leverage or players coming back using leverage, or was it just the timing of it all that made this just seem a little bit different and a little dirtier maybe than other actual instances that occur pretty regularly?
Yeah, I personally didn't hear a lot about the CFP thing. I know Josh Pate brought that up, and the more I hear about it, the more it tracks. I can't name any other instance where we've really seen this play out on this level. I think a lot of this has to, there's Nico, the quarterback, and then there's Nico, who has a lot of people trying to help him out and trying to get more money for him. And I think that those two separators have really, kind of come to the spotlight, if you want to say, in the last week.
How much do you think Nico wishes this never happened?
I can't speak for him, but I'd assume that he wishes that this was never happened because he'd still be at Tennessee.
So, Pete, this is the crazy spring portal is a lot more difficult to make the decision because it's only 10 days. It is only 10 days for Nico in particular.
Sure.
Do you expect this to be a day 6, 7, 8 thing as opposed to where certain guys, like I feel like Jade Knott's going to come off the board in like 36 hours or less because he's going to have a lot of suitors and all that. Do you think it'll be more towards the end because now he has to wait for kind of the smoke to clear from last week?
Yeah, so expectation is he's going to go in tomorrow. Now, maybe for some reason he pops up on Thursday. I can't predict when he goes in. That's up to Tennessee compliance. I've been speaking with some people today. I'm really interested to see how long it takes him to announce a commitment or find that next landing spot. And I think that's going to say a lot about the process. Because he is going to be the best quarterback available in this portal, but there's only so many teams that want a quarterback right now. And there's only so many teams that want to pay a price and kind of bring in a quarterback that comes with everything around him. So I don't know how long it's going to take him. It's definitely going to be an interesting situation to watch play out if it goes into a day 6 or 7, like you mentioned.
What's been some of the feedback that you've received just from talking to various coaches or your sources about Dan Lanning being public or talking to Josh Heupel and alerting him, and just the whole situation itself? A lot of people wanting to point to this or maybe hope this is a turning point of sorts. Do you see it that way, or is this just kind of a unique story? And what's kind of been the national feedback, I guess, if you will?
Yeah, I was talking to a head coach at a G5 earlier today, and he said, man, I hope this gets them to bring back take back the spring portal. I don't know if that's going to happen. Obviously, this is a great example of why the spring portal brings some chaos to college football. I enjoy covering the transfer portal. It's a huge part of my job, so I'm not going to, say that it needs taken back. But obviously, a lot of head coaches are not a fan of it. And then in terms of Dan Lanning, I mean, I think that just says a lot about Dan Lanning calling, Josh Heupel and saying that happened. Now, I don't have that directly from sources. I know it's been reported in a lot of places, but if that did all happen the way a lot of people have said it played out, then kudos to Dan Lanning.
Pete Nakos on3 with us had the story about Nico Iamaleava and the renegotiation or whatever you want to put. Let me ask you this, Pete. How long did you have that story? And what was your reaction when you pushed send? Because you were absolutely right. A lot of people, including Nico's father, said some awful things. But when you have it and you feel good about it, did you have it even a day or two earlier than that, or is it when you sent the story?
Yeah, this was a story that came together quickly on that Thursday. And funny enough, I had a doctor's appointment in the morning, came in, sit down in the office, and the first phone call I get is Nico's going in the portal. And I'm like, I don't fully believe that. Let's make some more phone calls. And from there, it kind of took off and it was, okay, so some things are actually going on and stuff like that. And it moved quickly. It all came out that day. And yeah, I mean, once you press send, it is what it is. What we do here, I feel good about and trust my sources. And I got called a lot of names though in the 24 hours after that, maybe a little bit less than that.
Well, Pete, it was really great work, and I think a lot of people don't even know the work that goes in. Like the decision to post something like that is not. Also, like even if I'm sure you had like, all right, here we go. Was it that like that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't an automatic like let's run to this to the presses. It was like let's make sure we're right and let's make sure we have the full picture of what's going on. And I know some people like came after me and said, oh, this has been going on since December. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, you're right. But like at the same time, like this is all going on in real time still. So I didn't think it was ever going to end up this way, right? Like if I had a crystal ball in front of me, did not think it was all going to work out the way it did.
If you don't mind me asking, how difficult was that time knowing you were right and yet having to deal with, things being thrown at you?
Yeah, you kind of take it. You got to take it in stride. Thursday night, going home wasn't the easiest thing I've ever done. But yeah, and the other one, the other thing I'll make mention of too, like Nico and Tennessee could have put it all to bed by him announcing shortly after that story came out or on Friday that he was, evolved for life, that he was locked in, and they did the absolute opposite of that.
Pete, Jaden Knott went in the portal today.
Sure.
California running back, hellacious player.
Yeah.
Where is he? Is he now the number one guy if Nico is not? And is that Oklahoma? Who is that going to be?
I really like right now where Oklahoma sits, just from talking to some sources around there, and don't think it's a done deal just yet, but definitely think the Sooners are in the right spot to get it done.
Treber Pena from Syracuse jumped in the portal today. There are a lot of teams out there that want a wide receiver. How fast do you think that moves? And is it Miami, Tech? Who's involved in that one?
Yeah, I think Miami and Tech are, the two early teams to watch. He's in the portal. I'd imagine it's going to move fairly quickly. He's going to be one of the more talented wide receivers to go in from everything I know, and always something kind of comes out of the woodwork. But I think those two schools are going to be two ones to watch, and whoever gets him is going to get one of the better backs, wide receivers in the spring portal.
Pete, who's going to play quarterback at Tennessee that's not on the roster now?
Your best guess is my best guess. I think they're trying to figure out in real time as well.
I can imagine.
And let me ask about another quarterback who's been in since December, Jaden Rashada, looking for, I guess, what would be school number 4.
Yeah.
Now, what has been the news or scuttlebutt on him? Because he is really at a crossroads in his career.
Yeah, so he visited Western Kentucky, I want to say like 2 weekends ago. He's not going to be a hilltopper. It doesn't seem like it's going in that direction. UConn and and Tulane have both shown a little bit of interest, but I don't think those are going to be the fits. South Alabama needs a quarterback now. FAU needs a quarterback. I'm not saying that those are going to be like great, great fits, but I think that those are some schools that we're going to hear about as this thing moves on.
If a coach doesn't know a lot about what's going on, and I know that at times you get probably all sorts of texts, and I know you have other things to get to, including stories that you're working on. Yeah. What is it like to be? There's a lot of guys we have on this show that are transfer portal analysts or those who may. What's it like? Does it ever stop right now? Is it 24/7?
Well, I'm currently on with you and also trying to refresh the portal and make sure that no one of no one that is legit goes in. So yeah, it's I love it. It's crazy. It comes in bursts too. I'll sit around on a Sunday this weekend with the portal, and all the compliance directors across the country want to take the weekend off, so the portal goes quiet. But then tomorrow at 5 a.m. there's gonna be 30 guys who just suddenly pop up.
Well, hey, I want to tell you this. I've been doing this a long, long time and saw what you did last week. You've done other good stories, great stuff before. You did a great job. Your owner had your back, among others as well. Yeah. Congratulations on having the story, Pete. Doing it right and continue to do it right. We appreciate your time.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much for having me on, guys.
All right, Pete Nakos on 3, as imagine, he said, the portal, refreshing it constantly because it just never ends.